Hi there and welcome to LeadingME Wee Gems. Today we're going to talk about the introvert strength behind their quiet demeanour. I have spoken before about introverts versus extroverts, but a few people asked me to do a bit more on the introverted side. So this is for you who have asked. So, first question I have for you is, what do you think of when you hear the word introvert? What does it spring up for you? Is it that you are an introvert? Is it that you love that quiet space and that you crave it and need it? Is it that you actually am not sure about what an introvert really is? Maybe you know an introvert, you're extrovert, you know an introvert, but you really don't get them. So whatever that, and I do want you to contemplate what it means to what it conjures up for you when you think of the word introvert. So today what I want to do is celebrate the introverts. Celebrate them for that strength that they have that is sometimes overlooked. And just because they're quiet does not mean to say they don't have anything to say. In fact, sometimes they say a lot by not saying anything. So I want to look at three key areas. Now, there is many areas that are amazing in introverts, but I want to look at three. One is deep thinking and problem solving. The second one I'm going to look at is excellent listening skills. And the third one is that attention to detail that they have. So those are the three I'm going to look at. But as I say, they have many, many strengths. These are just three we're going to look at today. So let's start with the deep thinking, the problem solving aspect. Personally, I didn't see the strengths for a long time in introverts. I am mainly extrovert, but I do have introverted tendencies. But we tend to see from our own position, so it's our own focal position, we think everyone's the same as us. And we're not, and then we don't understand why they're not reacting in that way and why they're doing this or why they're doing that. Most of the time we don't even know why we do it, but we're still asking questions of others. So it's a point of view that we form through what we're saying and what we're experiencing. And that deep thinking and problem solving, it's not that extroverts don't think deeply or problem solve. It's just not the most natural place. Problem solving, yes. But the deep thinking on problem solving, not really. They tend to look big picture. So they're looking at problems, bigger picture. Whereas that deep thinking can really, especially if it's one problem that's looking to be solved, that deep dive in is where extroverts are absolutely brilliant. They go into all the complexities and down all avenues of what, where and how that could affect that and that. Whereas most of the time you will find that the extrovert will find something fairly quickly because they're fast and furious. So fairly quickly they'll find something, go, wow, that's great, that solves the issue, let's do. But in actual fact, when it comes to where we can benefit from the introverted deep dive think, it is on we need to analyse all different aspects, and they will be able to do that. And not only will they be able to, as an extrovert, I can do that. It's just not my superpower. Whereas it's their superpower. They love it. Me deep diving thinking will be at times. Me deep diving thinking will be when there's something that maybe engrosses me and I go down. But on the day-to-day and the issues and problems that come up, I'm looking for quick answers. Whereas that introverted person really goes into, and sometimes that can cause friction, but to be honest with you, when you understand it's their superpower and they love it, That's the best bit of all. Then it's really great to use that genius area that they have to immobilize thoughts that maybe you would not have if you're an extrovert. However, if you're an introvert, that comes so easy to you. Do you really enjoy it? You love seeing how everything all matches up and syncs together and could link and what would happen there, and you can see further down the line. There was many a time at a meeting I'd be sitting and there was a group of us and we'd all be thrashing things around because we like to talk and do. And a couple of introverts in the room would be sitting saying nothing, and then all of a sudden out of the blue, and this is please, any introverts out there that sometimes think I'm not even going to bother saying anything, please do, because it was your magic that would come in. And we had a couple of amazing introverts who would just turn and say, okay, I hear where you're going with that, but what happens down here? And they'd thought so deep about it. We're all going in that direction, and all of a sudden, bang, they block it. But not in a horrible, trying to block everything way, just in an absolute genius thought on, oh yeah, we'd all been running down that path and hit, bang, we would have hit the roadblock. But in actual fact, they, on the other hand, have seen the roadblock way before we've gone down that road. And we'd go, oh yeah, never thought about that. That's true. Oh, yeah, we need to change that then. And then, of course, if you say, so what would you think would work best? So then throwing the questions in, and they would, because they've already thought lots about it. And then they may say, but leave that with me, I'll come back to you, because they may need more thinking time. That, for me, was so appreciated when I got it. Not appreciated when I was trying to rush things and wanted to do. And I just seen it as, you're holding me up. So for those extroverts out there, please don't think they're holding things up. To be honest, they're saving you a lot of issues and problems down the line. For those introverts, all I'd ask is that you please speak up. You're amazing at your deep diving problem solving. But don't sit there and say nothing, especially when you can see catastrophe down the line because people are running down. I get that sometimes you're not appreciated in that, but that's up to you to allow them to feel the appreciation, and maybe how you couch it to them is the way to go. But your voice needs to be heard, particularly at the times when everybody's going to end up in a situation that nobody wants to be in. Sophie Dembling, who is the author of The Introvert's Way, A Quiet Life in a Noisy World, she says that introverts live in two worlds. We visit the world of people, but solitude and the inner world will always be our home. And I thought that was really beautiful, because as nuts as it may be for some people to understand that because they're not introverts, this is where the introverts, and as I say, there is moments for me that solitude and that inner world is home. So I totally get that. But they live in the two worlds, with them wanting and needing that solitude and inner world more than the people world. So the people world exhausts them, whereas for a lot of extroverts, that inner world exhausts them. So they can only do inner world a small amount of time, whereas the extroverts can do that for a long time. Okay? So be aware that being around lots of people and having lots of people input can wear an introvert down quite easily. It's not that they're not good with people, they are, but it takes a lot of effort for them. And if that effort is put in, then please respect it. And once we have a knowing and understanding on that, it becomes easier. So that's one, deep thinking. The next thing I'm going to look at is excellence in listening skills. They are excellent at listening skills. In general, because they analyse things and think about things a lot, they tend to just listen to what's going on. They observe what's happening rather than dominating conversations, which they don't have a need to do, unlike the extroverts who do feel they need to dominate conversations. But they're extremely good at sitting, listening, observing. Again, another superpower that's there. For me as an extrovert, I had to learn to do that a lot more. I had to learn to listen properly. The introverts of this world sometimes have to learn to come in conversation, just as I've said before. Their voice needs to be heard. So again, the yin-yang of introvert, extroverts come in. But the superpower here is listening. They're absolutely wonderful at listening. And they build strong relationships, because if there's one thing that we all crave is that people listen to us. So they have the innate ability to listen, which creates wonderful, strong, connected relationships with people. They provide thoughtful, meaningful responses, which make you feel really good that they have heard what you've said. Haven't just listened, but they've heard what you've said. And they're able to regurgitate what you've said in their way that makes you feel good about the fact they've listened to you. So it is an amazing power to have, because for a lot of us, we're having to learn to listen. But to have that, generally for an introvert, that's just I know how to do that, which is the superpower that's there. Susan Cain, who's the author of Quiet, The Power of Introverts in the World That Can't Stop Talking. I love that title. I actually love the subtitle. So she says that there's zero connection, or correlation, I should say. There's zero correlation between being the best talker and having the best ideas. And I would say absolutely. Introverts may go, oh my God, I wish I could get up there and talk and da-da-da-da. But that doesn't mean squat if you've not sat, listened, problem solved, gone deep dive thinking, and had some amazing ideas. Okay? And it's not that introverts, can't do the other things, or extroverts can't do this part. It's just that it's easier because that's the way they're programmed. And when we learn to work with both sides, it can make amazing teams. But we've got to understand each other rather than shutting each other down or not speaking at all. So it's at this point I'd say, if you're enjoying this and you want more and you would like to support this channel, then go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe and join the clan. We'd love to have you on board, and it just helps us in the algorithms if you actually like and support us in whatever way you can. We really do appreciate the support, and thank you so much for those people who have already subscribed and enjoy each session we bring around. So the last one that I want to talk about is attention to detail. That third one on introverts' attention to detail. They are amazing, and it's one part that I absolutely love. My attention to detail is not good. So I know I have to sit and make myself go into it, and I have to go away and look at it several times before I can catch. And even at that, I sometimes miss things. I often have those introverts in my teams who I know I can go and say, can you just check this for me? And they just look over it and go, there's this, and this, Mags. And I'll go, thank you very much, because I've missed it, right? But they're so good at it. They really, again, it doesn't take much for them to do. They just spot the patterns. They can see big picture Extroverts can see patterns, big picture, but these guys see it in the minutiae of detail, which is really the strength that I love pulling on. So their focus is to concentrate and really help anything that might be missed. They don't like to miss anything. So for me, that's just a godsend. I thank them so much for being part of my teams that help me be my best. They're wonderful at research and writing and project management. That's not all they're good at. I mean, I know some that are amazing designers. So don't think for a minute that they're just analytical thinkers. And I've got an amazing designer in my team at the moment, and she's just so good at the tiny little bits that make it look amazing. So, when it comes to that attention to detail, that again is another powerhouse that they have that they can pull on quite easily, that the extroverts sometimes feel more difficulty with. And I'll leave you with Michaela Chung, who's the author of The Irresistible Introvert, which I absolutely love. Her book, The Irresistible Introvert. Introverts treasure the close relationships they have stretched so much to make. It's beautiful because for extroverts, we don't necessarily have to stretch. That's one of our superpowers. We just go. And when we think of what Sophie said earlier, and the fact that introverts live in two worlds, they visit the people world. When they make close relationships, it takes a lot for them to do that. It's a real stretch. So I'd like all extroverts to think about their introverted colleagues and friends and help them to find the voice that is needed and ask them for the help that they have the superpowers with. For the introverts, firstly, I want to thank you. You have made my life more enriched, much, much easier when I embraced the introverted ways. And you also let me have an insight into myself and the introverted ways I have that I really do enjoy. The meditative times that I go into myself, I absolutely love now. And without your guidance and your help, I probably wouldn't even be anywhere near things like meditation. So in Leading Me terms, and I always like to bring the Leading Me in here, I would ask the introverts to step outside their comfort zone a bit more coming into Leading Me. I'm going to touch on the usual that I touch on here. You will often, as an introvert, be in the belittling side of Leading Me. So remember, the Leading Me ladder of leadership is across the way. It comes from both sides and goes into the middle. When we're Leading Me, with that middle column that runs through me is my Leading Me. When the ego pulls me to one side or the other, either bigging it up, trying to control or judge, or belittle, which is that, I feeling bad about me or blaming somebody else or blaming me, thinking I'm not so good. Introverts tend to go into this side of belittling when they not wanting to say anything out loud. I would ask you to just check yourself and say, these people need what I have because I've actually done the deep dive think on this. I've carefully thought through how this should be. I now need to find my voice to say it. And there's some great introverts who've found their voice and know how to make it. We know it's an effort for you, but please do, because without that, we're missing so much. So that's today. We've been talking about the introvert's strength behind their quiet demeanour. I love the fact that their viewpoint is so different from mine. And I just ask you to reach out to each other, both introverts and extroverts, and understand a bit more about how your colleagues and friends are and what they need. Sometimes they just need away from you as well as being around you, okay? So, as I say each and every time, Stay true, stay you, keep bringing out your brilliance, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.